What you're about to see is something no one expected on daytime TV. A simple interview on The View suddenly exploded into one of the most intense confrontations the show has ever seen. Joy Behar, a co-host for decades, gets into a heated argument with Mark Wahlberg live, unedited, and in front of millions. And then, in a moment that shocked the entire studio, she walks off the set. This is the full story behind the meltdown that has the internet on fire. Asterisk, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you'll never miss an update. Now, let's dive into what really happened. Asterisk. It happened in seconds, yet it felt like the entire studio shook under the weight of something no one saw coming. The audience of The View had just finished applauding as the cameras went live. People were still adjusting in their chairs, sipping their morning coffee, and settling in for what they believed would be a cheerful, drama-free episode. It was supposed to be one of those classic feel-good mornings where a major Hollywood star visits, laughs are exchanged, and everyone walks away smiling. But this day had a completely different energy. From the moment Mark Wahlberg stepped onto the stage, something felt off. He smiled, waved, and even cracked a little joke as he took his seat. The audience responded with warm applause, unaware of the tension forming beneath the surface like a quiet storm. Joy Behar, seated right across from him, didn't seem to share the room's enthusiasm. Her smile was noticeably forced around the edges, and her eyes carried a seriousness that didn't match the moment. Even Whoopi Goldberg, sitting just a few seats down, raised her eyebrows as if she instantly sensed that something was about to go wrong. And when Whoopi senses something, it usually means the whole show is about to become chaos. The plan was simple: talk about Mark's new movie, ask a few fun questions, maybe even get a laugh or two. Producers had everything mapped out. The chemistry between the panel and celebrity guests had been smooth all week. Nothing, absolutely nothing, hinted at the storm that was about to erupt. But sometimes the biggest explosions happen with no warning at all. Mark began with polite, controlled answers, professional as always. Yet, even in those first moments, the body language between him and Joy was off. Joy leaned back, arms folded tightly, observing him with a mix of curiosity and skepticism. Mark, on the other hand, sat upright but visibly guarded, as if he was ready for conflict before it even arrived. The atmosphere thickened almost immediately. Though no one had said anything truly controversial yet, it was the kind of tension you feel, not hear, the kind that tells you instinctively something bad is about to happen. The audience didn't have the slightest clue. They were smiling, clapping, reacting like any other day. But the hosts could sense it. The producers backstage could sense it. And Mark Wahlberg, surprisingly, seemed to sense it too. Then 5 minutes into the interview, everything changed. Joy leaned forward and delivered a question that struck deeper than intended. Her tone was sharper than expected, her wording tighter, more pointed. It wasn't rude, but it wasn't friendly either. It carried the sting of challenge, like she was daring Mark to respond. Mark paused, just for a second. But that second felt like an eternity. The audience quieted, the panel shifted uncomfortably. Cameras zoomed in, as if they knew drama was about to unfold. Mark laughed softly, though there was no humor in his eyes. He responded politely at first, but his answer had an edgy, a subtle but unmistakable pushback, a direct response to Joy's tone. Joy didn't like that. Her expression tightened further. The kind of expression that longtime viewers know very well. It's the look Joy gives when she feels challenged, provoked, or disrespected. It's the look that usually means fireworks are coming. Whoopi glanced nervously toward the producers. Sunny fidgeted with her cue cards. Sarah shot a worried look at the cameras. Something that was supposed to be a light-hearted segment had now shifted into the dangerous territory of ego, pride, and tension. And the audience, both in the studio and at home, could feel the energy shift from casual to explosive. It was the kind of moment that reminds everyone watching that television may be planned, but real emotions can't be scripted. And just like that, within minutes, everything began spiraling out of control. Asterisk. What started as a harmless question soon ignited one of the most heated, uncomfortable confrontations daytime TV has seen in years. After a tense beginning, Joy Behar tried steering the conversation back into safe territory. She attempted a smile, shuffled her cue cards, and asked Mark Wahlberg a standard question about the deeper themes in his new film. It should have been simple, something any actor could answer easily, but instead of responding directly, Mark paused, tilted his head slightly, and gave Joy a half smirk that instantly raised eyebrows across the room. Joy, you're known for tough questions, but sometimes you go a little harder than necessary, don't you? The audience let out a mixed reaction. Some chuckled, some gasped, and some simply froze. Joy didn't find it funny. Her smile evaporated in a heartbeat. The entire panel shifted in their chairs, sensing danger. Whoopi glanced at Sunny with wide eyes. Sarah gave that nervous half laugh she uses when she's unsure whether to intervene. Joy leaned forward, voice sharp and direct. Mark, I ask real questions. People appreciate honesty. I'm not here to pamper celebrities. Her tone sliced the air. Even viewers at home could feel the discomfort. Mark didn't flinch. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't even blink. He simply folded his hands and replied, calm but firm. There's being real, and then there's being disrespectful. And sometimes, Joy, you cross that line. The crowd collectively gasped. The studio temperature seemed to drop. That line, that one sentence, was the spark that ignited the explosion. Joy's face hardened. She sat up straight, jaw clenched. For a woman who had handled presidents, politicians, and Hollywood giants for more than 2 decades, Mark's comment hit a nerve she wasn't expecting. She fired back. I've been doing this longer than you've been acting. Don't lecture me on respect. That wasn't just a comeback. It was a warning shot. But Mark wasn't backing down. He rested both hands on the table, leaned forward slightly, and delivered the line that would go viral within minutes. Experience doesn't give you a license to be rude. Silence, don't music. No laughter. No reaction from the co-hosts. Just pure stunned silence. Sunny looked like she wanted to disappear. Sarah covered her mouth. Whoopi muttered something under her breath, something close to "oh boy." Even the camera operator hesitated, unsure where to point the lens. Joy inhaled sharply, visibly shaken. Her eyes flashed with something between shock and humiliation. It was clear Mark's words hit her harder than she expected. She opened her mouth as if to respond, but nothing came out. The audience didn't know whether to clap or stay quiet. Many simply stared, wide-eyed and frozen. Mark sat back, unbothered, calm, confident, almost too composed. And that made it worse. Joy felt cornered emotionally, professionally, and publicly. The situation was slipping out of her control. The interview was collapsing. The energy was chaotic, and the entire studio was on edge. She tried to regain control, but every word she attempted sounded shaky. The damage had been done. The emotional hit was too sharp, too public. The hosts looked at each other silently, all of them wondering the same thing. Is Joy about to lose it? And then, without warning, Joy pushed her chair back. The metallic sound echoed across the studio. Her face was red, her breathing fast, her pride visibly bruised. She stood up slowly but decisively, and what she said next would change the episode forever. I'm not doing this. Not like this. What had begun as a simple interview had now turned into a full-blown confrontation, one no one could stop and no one could forget. And the worst part, the meltdown was only just beginning. What happened next will be remembered as one of the most shocking moments ever caught on daytime television. The sound of Joy's chair scraping against the studio floor sliced through the tense silence like a blade. The audience froze. The panel froze. Even Mark Wahlberg looked stunned for the first time since the argument began. Joy Behar, one of the most experienced figures on The View, a woman known for her sharp wit and thick skin, was visibly shaking. Her face was flushed with anger, embarrassment, and disbelief. She put a hand on the table to steady herself, leaning in as if trying to contain the storm building inside her. Then came the line that would replay across social media millions of times. I'm not doing this. I don't need to be disrespected on my own show. Her voice trembled, not from weakness but from a mix of fury and wounded pride. The studio gasped. Some audience members even murmured out loud. This was not entertainment anymore. This was raw, unscripted, and painfully real. Joy turned away from the panel, refusing to look at Mark or anyone else. She adjusted her earpiece, pulled her cue cards together with shaking hands, and took a deep breath before walking away from the table. At first, the cameras didn't know where to go. Should they follow her? Should they stay on the panel? Should they cut to commercial? The producers, watching from behind the glass, scrambled like firefighters facing a sudden explosion. Whoopi Goldberg was the first to react. She leaned forward and called out, "Joy, Joy, hold on." But Joy didn't even turn around. She walked straight off the set, heels clicking rapidly across the floor, her posture rigid with anger. The entire studio watched in stunned silence as a co-host who had been part of the show for more than 20 years disappeared behind the curtain. For a moment, no one on the panel spoke. Sarah N stared at her hands, looking lost. Sunny Hostin whispered a quiet, "Oh my God," under her breath. Even Mark Wahlberg looked uncomfortable, his earlier confidence suddenly replaced with awkward stillness. Then, as if waking from a trance, the producers finally made a decision. The screen cut to an emergency commercial break. Music blasted abruptly. The studio lights dimmed. Crew members rushed onto the stage. The co-hosts were escorted away for a quick huddle. The audience was left whispering anxiously, unsure whether they had just witnessed a meltdown or the end of an era. Backstage, Joy was pacing furiously. According to people present, she kept repeating, "I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. This show has become a circus." She wasn't crying. She wasn't yelling. But her voice carried a finality that made the crew nervous. Producers approached her gently, begging her to breathe, to calm down, to think things through. But Joy was too furious to listen. Years of built-up frustration, arguments, criticisms, controversies seemed to erupt all at once. Meanwhile, Mark Wahlberg sat quietly in the green room, head lowered, telling staff he hadn't meant to upset her. "I was just being honest. I didn't expect her to take it that way." He wasn't defensive, he looked genuinely surprised. In the studio, the audience was buzzing. Some people were texting, some were arguing, some were replaying the moment in their heads. unable to believe they'd seen Joy walk off live. When the show finally returned from break, the camera panned across the table slowly. Joy's seat was empty, and that empty chair said more than words ever could. Whoopi cleared her throat and attempted a soft, controlled statement. "We're taking a moment to regroup." Joy needed a break, but everyone watching knew the truth. This wasn't a simple break. This wasn't a minor disagreement. This was a full-blown collapse, one that could change the future of The View forever. And the drama was far from over. As soon as Joy Behar walked off the set of The View, the storm didn't stay in the studio. It exploded across the internet in seconds. Clips from the show were uploaded almost immediately to TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and X within minutes. Millions of viewers had watched the shocking moment. Joy Behar, visibly furious, standing up and leaving the set while Mark Wahlberg sat calmly across from her. Social media went into overdrive. Hashtags began trending worldwide. Hashtag Joy Behar, hashtag Mark Wahlberg, hashtag The View Meltdown, and hashtag Joy Walks Off. Fans debated fiercely in the comments, dissecting every frame of the confrontation. Some applauded Joy, calling her a strong woman standing up for herself against what they saw as disrespect. Others praised Mark for his composure, arguing that he spoke the truth in a calm, professional manner. TikTok users began making reaction videos, splitting the moment into slow-motion replays, zooming in on expressions, and analyzing every pause and glance. YouTube channels uploaded compilations titled Joy Behar vs. Mark Wahlberg, the argument you can't miss, racking up millions of views in just a few hours. Clips went viral internationally, with fans in the US, Europe, and Asia debating which side they supported. News outlets jumped on the story immediately. Headlines screamed, "Joy Behar storms off The View after heated exchange with Mark Wahlberg." Mark Wahlberg stands his ground as Joy Behar walks out. Daytime TV meltdown. The internet reacts to Joy Behar's exit. Talk shows, podcasts, and entertainment blogs dissected the moment, replaying the argument over and over. Commentators debated everything. Who was in the right? Did Mark go too far? Was Joy overreacting? Could this impact the future of the show? The viewers themselves were divided. Some defended Joy passionately. She has every right to be upset. Mark should have respected her position on her own show. Others defended Mark equally fiercely. He was calm and professional. Joy lost control over a small comment. She shouldn't have stormed out. Memes, GIFs, and short clips flooded social media platforms. One viral clip slowed down the moment Joy stood up and added dramatic music, instantly becoming a trending meme. Reaction videos, fan debates, and even parody sketches began surfacing everywhere. And while the internet was having a field day, insiders revealed that Joy was seriously considering quitting the show. According to sources, she felt humiliated and believed the on-air confrontation was a turning point she couldn't ignore. Suddenly, this wasn't just a viral TV moment. It was a global conversation about respect, fame, and the dynamics between hosts and guests. Millions of people shared their opinions, turning a single interview into a worldwide event. The aftermath was clear. This argument wasn't going away. It was everywhere in trending topics, breaking news stories, social media feeds, group chats, and morning discussions at offices and schools. Every single person who watched was talking about it. One thing became obvious: whether people sided with Joy or Mark, this clash had changed the game. It wasn't just a confrontation, it was a cultural moment, a lesson in boundaries, honesty, and public scrutiny. And the world was watching intensely, emotionally, and without blinking. The morning after Joy Behar's shocking exit, The View felt different, almost unrecognizable. The usual lively energy of the show was replaced by a tense, cautious silence. The empty chair where Joy had sat the day before was a stark reminder of the confrontation that had stunned millions of viewers. Whoopi Goldberg opened the show with a carefully measured statement. "Yesterday was emotional for all of us." Joy needed a moment to process everything. Her words were calm, but everyone watching could sense the tension beneath them. Co-hosts Sarah N. and Sunny Hostin exchanged nervous glances, and even Mark Wahlberg, who had been a guest promoting his latest project, appeared uncomfortable. It was clear nothing would ever be the same on this stage again. Behind the scenes, producers scrambled, meetings were called, calls were made, and urgent decisions needed to happen. Should they issue a public apology? Should they try to bring Joy back immediately? How would this affect ratings, social media perception, and the show's reputation? Every question seemed more urgent than the last. Meanwhile, the internet continued its frenzy. Millions of viewers debated Joy's actions versus Mark's responses. Fans divided into two main camps. Those defending Joy argued she had been publicly humiliated on her own show and had every right to stand up for herself. Those defending Mark pointed out his calm demeanor and honesty, praising him for handling the confrontation professionally, while Joy appeared to lose control. Reaction videos, opinion pieces, podcasts, and memes proliferated, keeping the story alive for days. Late-night shows covered it as a cultural moment. Social media wasn't just talking about the argument, it was analyzing every glance, every pause, every word. This wasn't just entertainment, it was an event. Inside the studio, the atmosphere was somber. Staff admitted that Joy's walkout had rattled everyone. Even seasoned crew members said they had never witnessed anything like it. Discussions about boundaries, respect, and the pressures of live television became constant topics backstage. As for Joy herself, sources revealed she was seriously considering her future on the show. The argument with Mark Wahlberg had crossed a line she couldn't ignore, leaving her feeling exposed and disrespected in front of millions. It wasn't just an emotional response, it was a moment of reckoning. Mark Wahlberg, for his part, released a calm and measured statement. "I respect Joy and the show. I never intended for things to get this dramatic. My goal was to be honest." Even his words only fueled the debate further. Viewers dissected every syllable, trying to determine if he had provoked Joy or simply defended himself. One thing, however, was crystal clear: this incident had forever changed the dynamic of The View. It was no longer just a daytime talk show, it had become a cultural flashpoint. The argument highlighted tensions between celebrity guests and hosts, raised questions about respect in media, and reminded everyone that live television can be as unpredictable as it is entertaining. And while fans waited anxiously for updates on Joy's return, one truth remained undeniable. The moment she walked off the set was more than just a dramatic exit. It was a defining moment that would be remembered in the history of daytime TV. Whether Joy Behar decides to come back or not, the clash with Mark Wahlberg will remain etched in the minds of millions, a reminder that live television can be raw, real, and unforgettable. The drama, the debate, and the questions about respect and boundaries, those will continue long after the cameras stop rolling.